Morning. I want to talk to you about winging it. And I want to know, straight off the bat, how many of you feel like you are winging your business. So the reason I want to ask this is because it's coming up to the end of the year. It is that time of year when we start looking at what we want to achieve next year. And I am going to be brutally honest with you guys. Winging it will only get you so far. I am proof of this, as are probably many of you. I did get really far by winging it. I would say that before I actually started to take my business seriously, I was 2 steps off the top of my company. Back in the day, back in 2015, 2016, and I know that's a long time ago and things have changed. But that's how I got to the top. I wung it. Is that a word? Winged? Wung. Don't know which one it is. You can tell me in the comments which one it is. In Yorkshire, I think it's wung. Anyway, I firmly believe that winging it will only get you so far. But I also firmly believe that winging it is a skill that needs to be embraced at the same time. Winging it, for me, is part of why I love business. It's part of why I went into business by myself rather than having a proper job. Because having a proper job, it was structure, it was boring, it was restrictive. Whereas we come into this world of the online space and running our own business and the offline space, and we think, do you know what, we can do this because it'll fit in around our lifestyles. It will enable us to look after the kids, have financial freedom, all the things, whatever it is for you. And yeah, that's great. But that comes with its own set of problems, doesn't it? It comes with this whole, well, I can work when I want, so I'll work when I want. It comes with the, well, I've got the freedom to do whatever I want to do now with this business. So we just do whatever we want with it. And like I said, it only gets you so far. So I want to tell you a little bit of my story. So I started out in this industry because I had quite severe anxiety. A proper job in inverted commas, didn't fit with my abilities. I also had a life with a family who proper work wouldn't have fit round. 9 to 5 would not have fit round. Even when I went to go and work in retail as a Sunday manager in a shop on a high street, that proved to be a pain when hubby either worked shifts or worked away. There was no childcare. Childcare was so expensive. So I had to find something that fit around the family and how I could work, which is great. These things are meant to be flexible. Network marketing, direct sales, it's supposed to be flexible. So I went into this business thinking, yeah, I'll fit it in around. And I did. I took my kids to TOTS groups and I got business from the TOTS groups. I used the local community to meet people and connect with people and solve their problems and sell my stuff. I did home parties in an evening when hubby was home, and when he wasn't, I didn't do them at the beginning. And I built it up by just thinking, right, today, I've got up this morning, what have I got on? I've got this going on with the kids, or I've got this going on that I can fit in my business around. I will just go and do it. And it worked. I booked parties, I sold the things, I recruited people. This worked. And then as I built my confidence, I sold more things, I booked more parties, I recruited more people, which was amazing. Those people then started recruiting people because I was naturally really enthusiastic and passionate about the fact that that would really massively benefit them, and I could sell that to them, I could market that. And it worked really, really well. And as I was doing all these things, I was building a team, I was building a business, I was building an income, I was building leaders. Now, it all went swimmingly. It did go swimmingly. But I was missing a crucial thing. I was missing any sort of structure, so I couldn't get anybody to repeat what I was doing. Yes, people in my team were recruiting and they were selling, but they would get so far and it would all fall apart for them. I know this because my leaders would get to leader and then fail. They wouldn't stay. They didn't know what to do. They struggled. They were coming in and they were wanting to be a leader, but they couldn't master how to get their teams to do the things. I think I was very lucky at being quite intuitive and quite inspirational is the wrong word. I could inspire people to do the things. I could motivate people to do the things. So they did the things, but they then couldn't teach the things. When I got poorly, I couldn't automatically repeat what I was doing. When I got into new areas, I couldn't automatically repeat what I was doing. When I got to the stage of wanting to be able to get people to repeat everything, I couldn't get anybody to do that because I had no structure. I had no systems. I had no processes for what I was doing. I was making sales and getting sponsors. And I remember being asked to talk at a regional in-person day and tell people how I got my sponsors. I'm like, well, I can't tell you how I've done that because I've winged it. Did wing it. I had no idea. And I remember being sat down with my upline regional manager. And we had a conversation around what I was doing. And it went along the lines of, Anna, you really need to work out what you're doing so that others can repeat it. And actually, if you don't know what you're doing, how can you maximise on that and make sure that you're saving time and energy? Because I was in this for time freedom and life around my kids. And how can you make more money, again, in it for the money, in less time? Because actually, if you knew what you were doing and what's working and what wasn't working, you could then repeat those things, not do any of the things that didn't work because, you know, why would you? And just get this going so it becomes easy, simple, straightforward to get other people to do. I was like, well, yeah, but that's boring. I don't want to do that. I like this whole, I can do what I want when I want. But there came a crunch point when I needed the money. You know, we wanted to buy a house. We wanted to build a proper life for me and my kids. We wanted to go on nice holidays. And none of that would work unless I started treating this like a real business. How many of you listening to this right now treat your business as a business? And I mean really. Do you have structure in place? Do you have sort of a plan that's in place for your success next year? And I want to know really, because I knew where I wanted to go. I knew that I wanted to reach the top of the company, to have my own region, to be to feel successful, to be able to pay for my kids to go on holiday, to not have to worry about money, to be able to have a mortgage, you know, all these things. But none of that was ever going to happen unless I started doing this properly. So, what happened when I did? This is where it gets really interesting. As soon as I started to put a little bit of structure into my days, so looking at what I was doing, what I was winging, looking at it and going, right, what am I doing here? How have I done that? How can I make that better? How can I maximise that potential? What have I done today that has worked? What have I done that's not worked? What haven't I tried? You know, can I write down my processes? Can I teach this to somebody else? And every day that I started to get a little bit clever with those things, I could see the difference. Because actually, rather than just selling something to somebody, if I had a process of how I was going to talk to them about recruiting or talk to them about booking a party and getting the sale, I could maximise what I could sell to that person. If I brought a recruit in and I knew how to onboard them and I had a system for it, it became easy, repeatable for everybody else who was bringing in somebody. If I had a system or a process for how I would run a team meeting, and I learnt that, and don't get me wrong, I learnt this off other people. This is not something I invented myself. This is business strategy, getting clever. as soon as I knew that I could have this system that worked for getting people to come to trainings, for inspiring them while I was there, for getting them to go and do things once they'd left the training, for getting them to come back, for getting them to bring others to come back, once I'd got that system and strategy in place, what a difference. And it wasn't massive amounts of things all at once. It was literally change one thing. Be strategical or be clever or plan the one thing. Start to change little tiny things about my business that meant that I was not winging it all the time. And do not get me wrong, my business is not full of structure. It is not full of what I see as boring processes and systems. I wing it through my systems. I wing it using my systems and my processes. I still have a fun business that doesn't feel restrictive and anything like that anymore. And as soon as I got those little systems in place, any little systems in place, I could start to see the difference in my income, in the amount of sales I was generating, in the amount of profit I was making, in the amount of people I was bringing in and how good they were and how much they wanted to build a business. I started to keep leaders. I started to keep more of the consultants. They started to be able to recruit and build a business when they started to follow what I was teaching. And it worked. It got me to the top. It got me building this business. There's such a difference between totally winging it and missing so many opportunities and putting some really simple structure in place in your business to ensure that you can maximise every potential moment that you are working on your business without it being boring, without it being stressful, so that you can have that life that you desire. So what can you do? Really simple things, okay? The most simple thing is to start with a plan. Where do you want to be? Where do you want to be? Where are you going? So take 2026, because we're sat here right now and it is, what are we on? Mid-December. Can't remember what day of the week it is. I am totally lost at this time of year. So we're mid-December. If you're listening or watching this back at any point, think about where you are right now. By the end of the year, where do you want to be? So 2026, let's look at 1st of January 2026, which is only a couple of weeks away, to the end of 2026, 31st of December. Imagine being sat here this time next year, having nearly finished that year and have smashed your goals. What are those goals? What is it? Sales, income, recruits, position in the company? Do you want to have achieved a trip? Where do you want to be? Okay, so that's the first thing I want you to start thinking. Where do you want to be? Because when you know where you want to be, you can work backwards and plan and put a structure in place as to how you're going to get there. Winging your way there is probably why you're not hitting it, or not hitting it as fast as you could do, or not keeping it. Then I want you to have a think about what does that mean you have to do. Now this is the important bit. If you don't know what you need to do to get to that goal, you're not going to do the things needed to get to that goal. And I know that sounds really obvious, but the amount of people that I used to meet, and I still meet, that go, I want to be a leader. I want to get to the top of the company. Right, so what's the plan? What do you need to do to get there? They'll go, I don't really know. How are you going to get there if you don't know how? That's like sticking your sat-nav on in the car and thinking, I want to go somewhere. I don't really know where to go, so I don't know what to put in the sat-nav. So actually, I'm just going to sit here or I'm just going to drive around aimlessly. What is the point? You must know where you need to go and how you're going to get there. If you know where you need to go, your sat-nav will tell you how to get there because it's got a process, it's got a structure, it knows how to get there. You need to create this in your brain. You need to create this on paper, preferably. So you've got it written down and you can see it and keep going back to it. What does it mean you have to do? Is there a certain amount of sales you need? A certain amount of recruits? Do you need to do it in a time frame? What do you then need to do to be able to keep it? What does it mean you have to do? Do you have to start showing up visibly? Do you have to start meeting more people? Do you have to start building this business and treating this business like a business? Do you have to have, you know, £2,000 in sales a month, or 3 recruits a month until the end of the year? Or, you know, do you need to promote out a leader? Okay, so who's going to be that next leader? Do you know them yet? What needs to happen? Okay. And then break that down over the course of the time period you're going for this for. So I know in my business right now, I want 200 members in my membership. I would love that figure for the income it will give me, for the amount of people I can help. I want that goal. There's loads of reasons I want that goal. So I know that I have to do things to get those people in. I might know 200 people that want to come into my membership right now, but if I didn't, I can think, right, so I'm going to break this down. So this month, I'm going to start talking about my membership everywhere. Next month, I'm going to be bringing people into my world through doing more Facebook Lives. I don't know. You know, I can work out what I need to do to get the end goal. I can put a launch on. I can start outreach. I could do all these things. But what's going to work most effectively? How am I going to do this? Okay, so break it right down, and break it right down into the most minuscule things that you could do. Break it down so it goes so far down that you know what actions to take to do the thing. So you want £1,000 income in the next month. Okay, let's start with that one. So you want £1,000 in a month. How many sales do you need to make to get that? I'm using this in the most simple terms possible for you, just so you can I can show you how I break it down. So £1,000, let's say in January, you're on 25% commission. That's £4,000 in sales you need to make. Yeah. So use your goal, use your whatever it is that you want to get for January. And so you've in this example, you've got £4,000 of sales to make. What can we do? Okay, so we could do a one-to-one with somebody every month. You could put a booking in every month. So if your party plan, it could be something that you can do in person once a month. It could be once a week. You could go and book some fairs and events maybe. You could do some online masterclass. You could sell through your Facebook group. You could do customer service calls. There's all sorts of things. And then you can break it down and think, okay, so my customer service calls are going to get me £500 in sales, guesstimate, with some sort of knowledge backed behind you, hopefully. So £500 there. My once a week parties, pampers, showcases, classes, whatever you want to call them, are going to get me £500 each. So that's 5 lots of £500. We're at 2,500. Okay, so my one-to-ones, one-to-one a week, for example, will get me £200. So that's now on 2,500 plus 800, and this is where my GCSE maths fails me. We're now at £3,300. Okay, we've got £700 to make. Customer service calls. Can I get my customer service calls from my previous customers to make me £700? Is there a gap somewhere? Do I need to put more stuff in? You've broken it right down into the things you need to do that month. Then you break it down into action. So who's going to book my parties? Who can I outreach to? Where am I going to find new people? Who needs the one-to-one stuff? Where am I going to advertise this? How am I going to market it? Who am I going to outreach to? You know, and start to break it down into things you can do every day. So you put some sort of structure in place for your business. Then it's about getting clever. Once you've broken it down into actions and you're starting to do the things, look at what works. What are you doing that's worked really well? Repeat it. It's worked really well. What's not working? Why is it not working? Is it not working because I'm not trying? Is it not working because I believe it's not going to work? Is it not working because it's just not what works for me? Just because it works for somebody else doesn't mean it's going to work for you. Start to get really clever about the things you're doing and analysing them. Part of running a business is analysing this stuff. If you wing it the whole time, you're going to miss out on so many opportunities to think, oh, actually, do you know what? That worked. I'm just going to repeat that over and over and over and over. Because the more I repeat something that works, the more money I'm going to make. How many times have you said to yourself, and I know I've done it, God, I used to do that and it used to be really good. That thing, oh God, somebody else is doing that. God, years ago, I tried that and it was fantastic. Why on earth did I stop? Why do we do that? Because we haven't got a strategy or a structure. If we had that, we'd be going, right, that thing that I've done, That worked. I'm going to keep doing that, and I'm going to tweak it and make it better. That thing that I'm doing, if it works, I'm going to keep doing it. That thing that I'm doing, if it doesn't work, I'm going to look at it and think, okay, can I change this? Is there something I'm doing that's not quite right? Am I not looking at the bigger picture of my business and thinking, well, I'm doing this thing that works for everybody else. Why is it not working for me? Oh, I've got no audience that are interested, so I need to build my audience before that thing will work. I'm trying this thing, but I don't align with it, so it's not going to work for me, so I need to try something else. Okay, and then thinking, like I've just said there, what else can you try? I've always said, and I've always been told, I hear it all throughout the industry, so it's not something that I say myself, I've not made this up. This business is super simple. You meet people, you build connections, and you offer people opportunities. Then you teach others to do the same. That in itself is a structure. If you can follow those 4 things, even if you have no other structure and strategy and nothing in your business other than doing something for those 4 things every day, that means you're winging it a little bit less. That means you're going to be succeeding a little bit more. That means you're going to be putting something in place that is repeatable for anybody else. So I want you to think today about those things. I want you to think about how much you're winging it or not winging it. I want you to think about what you can do to start putting a little bit more structure and strategy in place. And if you want some support with this, I want you to come and speak to me. I am a network marketing, business strategist, sales strategist, and marketing mentor. These are the things I can help you with. And it doesn't have to cost you an absolute fortune to get that support. There's tons of things I can plug you into for free or for very little money. Come and speak to me. I hope you have enjoyed this talk. Hopefully it's been helpful. Go and have an amazing Monday and smash the rest of this year and start getting some structure ready for January. See you all soon. Bye.